Here at home, we are closing in on the midterm elections. Conventional wisdom the last year or so has been Republicans continue to have control of the House of Representatives, your House, and have a very good shot at taking the Senate from the Democrats. But in recent weeks, both in some of the polls we're seeing, state-by-state races, and just in a sense, there seems to be a feeling Democrats may hold some key Senate seats, maybe even take a Republican seat or two, and maintain, by a very thin margin, but maintain control of the United States Senate. It can change hour to hour, obviously. What's your read on it at this point?
Well, I think you're correct. I think there are a couple of very pivotal races in the ones that you've outlined, including Pryor in Arkansas with Cotton and Landrieu in Louisiana. And also Kay Hagan seems to be holding her own. Her number hasn't moved. I think that what's extraordinary about North Carolina is the amount of money that's already been spent, and the number for both candidates has not moved. I think none is viable clearly in Georgia, and I think Lundgren is viable in Kentucky. I think the Begich race he's holding on in Alaska, and clearly our candidates in Iowa and in Michigan are holding their own. But the situation, to be frank, is very fluid, and all of these races are inside of the margin of error, and not to miss the race between Gardner and Udall in Colorado. So you probably have 7 or 8 races across the country where billions of dollars will be spent. And I should say, let me qualify that, hundreds of millions of dollars will be spent, maybe reaching that number that I moved a moment ago. And I also think the organizational effort across the country is going to be vast on behalf of respective candidates.
Did I hear you right? You think Senator Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader, could be in some jeopardy in Kentucky?
I do. I think that there's no question that Lundgren has matched him dollar for dollar and campaign worker for campaign worker, and she has done very well against Senator McConnell. Recall that his negatives are very high in the state of Kentucky, and you have a very popular Democratic governor in Kentucky, but it's speculative. I mean, he's going to know how to do it, there's no doubt about that. But Lundgren is from an old Democratic family, and I also think one of the problems we have, Jim, as a political party, it's hard to see how we're going to maintain a majority in the House of Representatives at some point, or in the United States Senate, without winning back some of these southern seats. If you wake up in the morning and you say that the states of the old Confederacy have already gone to the other side, it's hard to see on the map how you can expand the playing field. I mean, we're not going to win another seat in New England. We're not going to win another seat in the California coast. And that's the point that I try to raise with the Democratic leadership all of the time. When I went to Congress 26 years ago, what's astounding is there were 269 Democrats. And they came from every part of America. And today, we're limited to the coast, a little bit of the industrial Midwest, and not to miss the point that the gerrymandering that took place in the last round of congressional elections has really hurt us. We received 1 million more votes nationwide than Republicans did, and yet they enjoy a comfortable margin in the House of Representatives because of those gerrymandered districts.
Let's look next door to New Hampshire, perhaps the most watched Senate race and one of the greatest interest races. Former Massachusetts Republican Senator, you served in the delegation with him, Scott Brown. He's going up against Democratic Senator, former governor, friend of yours, Jeanne Shaheen in New Hampshire. Handicap that race for us a little bit.
Well, I mean, I think, look, Scott Brown's going to be formidable. I don't think anybody dismisses that fact. I think at the same time, when people will ask me about it, they say, well, what do you think the key ingredient is for Governor Shaheen? And my point is, she was elected governor of that state 3 times. It is hard for a Democrat to get elected governor of New Hampshire 3 times. So there's a skill set that she's going to be able to apply, I think, come November. She's running ahead right now as we speak. And everybody expects that that race is going to tighten. There's no doubt about that, but not to miss the point that she's formidable.
There seems to be, and I suppose we could figure out a number of reasons for this, there seems to already be, and has been for a while, an amazing amount of interest in 2016. And obviously it will be a new president no matter what. Only 3 Democrats seem to be on most people's radar screen of potential candidates. The governor of Maryland, Martin O'Malley, Vice President Joe Biden, a friend of yours, and the person you supported in 2008, former Senator and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. What's your read on how that race is starting to take shape?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that she's a candidate. They're old friends of mine. I need to point that out by way of disclosure. And I go way back with them. I've been an original supporter of theirs. And I like Joe Biden very much. And Governor O'Malley's a good friend who's done a terrific job. At the same time, I think that you can see the building momentum for a Clinton candidacy as recently as Iowa. And I also would say that It's hard to get past the good times that America experienced with Bill Clinton. 22 million jobs, an unemployment rate of 3.8%, and 4 balanced budgets with economic growth that was the greatest in the history of America. And I think that people remember that many of the policies that were implemented during those years brought broad prosperity to the American family. Income was raised for poor people. Blacks and Hispanics did better than they'd done before in the American economy. And I think that that's the argument that she's going to make. The question obviously is, do people remember it? And there are those of us who voted for many of those policies, defended him during difficult times, and I think I can also fairly say he's the most popular former and perhaps future office holder in America by way of advising his wife as anybody in America. And I think that's what people remember.
Fair to say that, if I recall right, in 2008, you were, if not the very last, one of the very last of the superdelegates to switch from Hillary Clinton. Even after she withdrew from the race, you held off a couple of days and then endorsed Barack Obama. Fair to say you were all in and ready for Hillary in 2016?
Ready for Hillary, and also to say that, in fairness, if you look back at that, I thought that given the fact that it had been such a spirited contest, when she said it was over, we should say it's over, and that's what happened. And you know, another interesting point in that race, they both became better candidates because they both stayed with it. She made the president a better candidate, and he made her a better candidate based on the engagement. And I also thought that it was a very savvy maneuver on his part to make her the Secretary of State.
Congressman Richard Neal, always a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for your time, sir.
Glad to be with you, Jim, always.